Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for passing by. Thank you so much for subscribing. And thank you very much for watching my videos. You are greatly appreciated. I have watched the video that Sir P did, that's Politricks Watch, and he's speaking on women hotness per capita have increased. However, the love and relationship ratio have decreased, and women have been looking more and more appealing, more sexier, more sultrier, more beautiful due to so many things that are in the society and available for them to use to enhance their beauty. On the contrary to prior years when you had to just born looking attractive or amazing in the eyes of the public or the majority. Now you can really buy beauty because it's sold somewhere. However, he's saying that most women nowadays are very much single. It's like the more attractive they are, the more single they are. And when you look at a lot of women who are actually in a relationship, or the men who decide to marry, or when they're ready to marry, they marry a woman who the public would not deem very attractive or very beautiful or even appealing. And he's saying that when it comes to intimacy, men, they go with whoever, but when it comes to marriage, they have higher stipulation or criteria or prerequisites that they require from a woman. And so a lot of women are deeply misguided, thinking that it's beauty a lot of men are solely interested in. And he's wondering, is it that women are actually can't find, women actually cannot find a partner, or is it that their standard have increased where they're they're selecting men who are rare in breed for whatever it is that they desire? It's actually very funny because I was laughing while watching the video and I hear him. But the thing is that I believe strongly that Sir P is one of those individuals who are deeply misguided when it comes to the relationship and it comes to women, and what's taking place in society right now? Or is it that he refused to accept the harsh reality that women are just more advanced than men? Sometimes that's the harsh reality. Women are simply more advanced than men. If you have a society where majority of the women are educated, or they're finding themselves into a skilled institution, trying to advance themselves when it comes to education, when it comes to a skill, when it comes to something that makes them whole, or for them to have some sort of autonomy when it comes to their finances, when it comes to balancing themselves. They have an interest in raising their standard of living. They have an interest in wanting to move themselves from the poverty line. And they are going about it through education and through skill. Also, they are finding creative ways in order to generate an income. While on the contrary, the men in the society are moving on a different scale. They have no interest in advancing themselves. A vast majority of them, they have no interest in finding themselves in an institution or an academia that teaches you something to make you a productive member of society. So unfortunately, the women are more advanced than the men. Now, if the women are more advanced than the men, the women simply are not going to desire the men. It matters not what his standard is. It matters not what his prerequisites are. It matters not what he or who he desires or his preference or whatever. The basic line and principle is that the women are not going to be attracted to those men who are in the society. And if you flip the script over, it would have been the same thing, especially coming from a society and a world where misogyny is the order of the day. Men would simply not be interested in the woman in his world because he would consider himself too super advanced for them, or too attractive or more attractive. So he would want them for bed mate or for kitchen mate, but that would be the most of it. You understand? So the script flipped, and now the women have decided that, listen, we can't rely on our beauty because of the mere fact that Black women were deemed the bottom of the totem pole. As I spoke about this so many times, Black women have been deemed the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to beauty, when it comes to being attractive, when it comes to being desirable. We've seen it even on dating sites where they tweak the algorithm and they put the Black women on the least, they put them at the bottom, they put them in the far end wherein a guy would not naturally scroll and just find the photos of black women that he would have been interested in dating. And so, with that being said, now we've seen wherein women are getting an education, women are trying to further advance themselves when it comes to their career path, when it comes to whatever it is that they want to pursue in life. And like I said, to raise their standard of living. So when we see that and they have the finances and the resources to enhance their beauty on a surgery table or whatever the case may be, they are going to do it, and they're going to consider themselves what? Not inferior anymore. They're just going to consider themselves a little bit more than the men in the society. That's their harsh reality. They're going to consider themselves superior to the men. And that's basically what's happening. So Sir P is putting this kind of scaremongering and lonely mongering on women, saying that maybe you're picking too much and you don't want to end up in the nursing home when you're alone. And listen, there's so many persons prior to us who have been alone, who are alone, who choose to be alone. And might I add, as I've said before so many times, being alone does not necessarily mean that you are lonely. There are persons out there who rather their own company, their own space. And like I said, with so many things that women have dealt with, women have choose to absorb, women have choose to tolerate when it comes to relationship. Women have been doing it for so many decades, and it has reached a point wherein they can now advance themselves doing their own thing in various ways. So they're not going to subject themselves just about anything to have a partner in their bed. I've done several videos on this. Now, a lot of these women, I'm glad he was the one who mentioned it as a man, that a lot of the time when men are looking for wives, they're looking, the women that they end up marrying are not women that are necessarily attractive or you would consider desirable. And there's a reason for that, because women who are not considered desirable or stuff like that are women who majority of the men would not go for, and she'll be willing or more than willing to do anything in the book to have a permanent partner. And so she would be what they call a pick-me type of woman. She's not going to have much stipulation um or guidelines or margin when it comes to what she desires in a relationship from her partner. She would most likely tolerate a man who is dishonest, a man who doesn't have any loyalty, because a ring is most important by any means. We have seen the situation with Queenie and Dewey. We have seen it so many times. Low self-esteem type of women who are willing to do anything in the book just to have a husband in their bed at night. And many of the times the husband are simply not there. They're not interested in coming home to them. They're not interested in staying with them. They don't even respect them. So you will find that a lot of these women who are unattractive, they will subject themselves to a lot of things to have a partner versus a woman who is considered more attractive, whether it be through natural appearance or it be through enhancement, whether it be through surgery or through makeup or whatever the case may be. You understand me? Her self-esteem boost, and if she had a high self-esteem from the get-go, then after doing the surgery, her self-esteem is just going to increase more. And with the fact that she has a career for herself or she has a skill for herself and she's doing things, making her own money, then she's simply not going to have an interest in desiring just about any man or wanting to get married so bad. You may find women in their corner, yes, speaking and saying that they would love to be married. Of course, you're a human being and you have nature. So clearly you would want a partner. However, given what's happening in the society and the type of people and the behavior of the men in the society, there are women who simply choose to be alone. They rather stay by themselves. And might I add, there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to be by yourself, because it gives you time to practice self-care. It gives you time to understand who you are. It gives you time to understand and to choose a better path in life that is designed for you or that you design for yourself that can further advance you. So I'm not sure what is it that Sir P is getting at. Yes, they have spoken about it. People on the other hand, and I noticed that there's something that's brewing when it comes to this topic, is that men and a lot of women out there, the same type of undesirables, they have an interest in shaming women who decided that they want to enhance their beauty or they travel with high self-esteem and they strongly do not need
a partner, a lifetime partner in and of itself. They believe in shaming these type of women. And I'm curious, what's the purpose of it? If that's not the woman for you, you can simply move on. Everybody has a desire and everybody has a right as to whether or not they want a partner, as to whether or not they have an interest in a partner. And if the man in her world does not meet the prerequisite that she has, there's no need to shame her saying that her standards are too high. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. A woman with low standards or a woman who does not have any stipulation when it comes to relationship is a woman that most likely will fall for anything, will subject herself to anything, because her main concern is to have a partner by any means necessary. And if it comes with a ring, then bingo, she hit the jackpot. Not every woman think like that. As a person who was engaged twice, I know what it's like. When I was a young girl, I always wanted to be married at the age of 18 because I would have had an education, heading into a career at that time and stuff like that. But as I get older in life and I realize that the men in the world does not have the forward thinking mindset and the advancement that I have, and I'm not going to dig through a rubble to find diamond. I simply did not have an interest in wanting to go that hard in order to find any form of partner whatsoever. I'm more comfortable where I'm at. Now, if it happens, then it happens. But I'm not pursuing anything. I was always the type of person to enjoy my own company, to enjoy my own space. Now, what's the biggie about that? Again, Serpy also spoke about women, when they're going out to parties, it's like 20 of them. That's true, because I've seen it. A lot of women, when they're going out, they go on vacation, they save for vacation and they go in groups because it's also cost effective. If they're going out to party, they go out in groups and it's also cost effective, and it avoids harassment. So it's like you don't necessarily want a partner to go out with, especially if you're a single person, because number one, there's a situation that is at hand wherein women can be in a group and they're all getting along, and as soon as one guy comes in, all the women just turn enemies. They simply just turn enemy because men have mastered the art of setting women against each other. And so they're more comfortable going out in groups. It's more cost effective. They're more comfortable in their space. They relish in their self-esteem and they enjoy that atmosphere. And you have to understand that that's just how it is. No, if the men decided that they're going to advance themselves, get it further enroll in a school, get a skill, stay in a job that they actually have until they meet better and resign from one and get into the other, than rather than just walking off because it doesn't suit them. They don't like what the boss say. They don't like this. They don't like that. All this type of thing come into play. Maybe, just maybe, then there would be a perfect match. There would also be an increase in emotional intelligence for men, know to understand conflict resolution. How do you deal with situation when it doesn't work out for you? You have to understand that what women used to subject themselves to, especially Jamaican women, the abuse, the torture, the mind games that they used to subject themselves to, they have no interest in doing it anymore. And the thing that they're leading with is the fact that they have goals and ambition for themselves, and they're not diminishing it or suppressing it to further advance a man who has no interest in advancing himself or taking her on the ride of advancement with him. And that's just the harsh reality. So when they realize that, they can get a work that pays a minimum wage and they save, if it's even $500, $200 until they can enroll somewhere and get a skill or an education, further their education until they get a better job and stuff like that, they are going to do it. And that's what's taking place now in the society. So it's not about, they're so lonely and they're sitting down. Yes, they're going to sit down in their group and discuss that. It'll be a beautiful thing if they actually had a family, if they had a husband, a wonderful husband that's loving and caring. But that wonderful husband that's loving and caring simply do not exist. And, nobody wants to spend their life searching for something that, it's highly unlikely they won't find it, and all of these type of things. A woman in her beautiful world, as feminine as ever, would love to sit back and have a wonderful husband, take care of her, do this for her, do that for her. But history have proven that men were very abusive physically and all of that. And when they're upset, they deny you money, they deny you food, all these type of things. Women had to be forced to go and work while taking care of the kids, nurturing them and all of that. Now we're moving into the 21st century of the year 2025, going into 2026. You don't see that anymore. And because there's so much autonomy in the women and their mindset is more steadfast, wherein they will put up with the BS from their boss, they will put up with the BS from their superior at their job, and all of that. They have high endurance in tolerating it because they have a goal while going for their job. And this was the same thing I taught my daughter. Whenever it is that you start working, always have a goal. Always make certain that you have a goal while working, whether you're going to purchase a reliable motor vehicle, or you want to purchase a plot of land in the future, or you want to start up a business for yourself, or you want to go back to school. Always make certain that you have a goal so that when you get your pay, you don't squander it. These were the principles that I taught my daughter while growing up. And so far, it's so good. She has applied it to herself. She has applied to her life. And because of such, I'm proud of her. You understand? So, with that being said, this is what's taking place in the society. So, all this fear mongering and loneliness and women are going to be lonely, that is out the window and hitting the wall. What they're going to look like at 50, they're going to be less desirable. They're going to be this, they're going to be that. We are seeing all these women who are in their glorious relationship. They're still being lied to, they're still being cheated on, they're still being disrespected, they're being abused, and they just have a higher tolerance than other women. So they will stay in the situation because they need a husband, perhaps. They have low self-esteem, and that man's duty is to feed them the self-esteem through reassurance that, okay, I love you and I'll be here and I'm not going anywhere. I might just cheat one night, but that's it. They buy it and they absorb that. Women today, on a broader scale, are just not doing what the grandparents, the great grand aunt, nieces, they're not just not doing all of that anymore. And that's just a harsh reality. I don't know how you men are going to take it or how you are willing to take it, but that is the harsh reality, whether you like it or dislike it. They're simply more advanced than you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it than probably try to advance yourself and stop with the get rich quick mindset. Stop with the get rich quick mindset. I must have millions of dollars overnight. I must have $5 million by the end of this week. That mindset is sending you to an early grave because there's no large amount of money that you can get at one point, and it's not through winning the lottery or through inheritance that you can acquire. It's simply not going to be legal, and it's not logical. So you're sending yourself to a prison or to an early grave. And that's what's taking place in this society. And a lot of them are smoking and drinking and doing all sorts of things and relying on substance abuse and all these type of things because they are trying to cope with the reality that they simply do not have what they desire. And they wish not to go and climb the ladder slowly. They want to run up the ladder. So they're not taking a page out of the women's book. And because of that, women are doing what they have to do and what needs to be done to get the work done. And that's what's happening right now. But that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy your day. God bless you. Bye-bye.